What is the reason that you want a relationship? Is it because you're lonely?
Relationships are so important because they shape your whole life. And we keep trying to find completeness and value and worth in people when people were never created to be that for us.
I knew, I was like, God's gonna send me the right person and I'm gonna wait even if.
We were very intentional with one another. We knew what we wanted. Like, you want that dream car. I want it, bright red. I want it fast. I want the souped up. Even though you're married and even though like you're my wife, you're not the most important relationship that fulfills me, that completes me. There are sacrifices behind love. You love someone out of sacrifice.
We're not saying don't fall in love. That's not what we're saying. We're saying you can help not falling in love with the wrong person.
I just wanted to sing you this song. Can't help falling in love with you. Oh, we recording? Oh, my bad. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome, Cody and Julia, Worthy People of Godcast, relationship episode
Edition.
What's up, mama? You looking real pink today?
Wow, it's my favorite holiday. You know that?
Yes, relationships. The month of February, we are doing our annual relationship episode. What's up for everybody that's in a relationship? And if you're not in a relationship, hey, either way, good place to be.
You should be in a relationship with Jesus. No, just kidding. That's what people used to tell me, okay? So, just saying.
You saw this title, Can't Help Falling in Love with You. That's what we're talking about today. It's going to be a fun conversation, so y'all buckle up and get ready. And hopefully we want to deposit some things into your life and spirit that you can apply to your life in your current relationship or the future relationship for the man of God or the woman of God that God has for you and your future. This question, can't help but falling in love. Man, I know that we hear this all the time. We hear, and people say that. Have you ever said that's watching? Man, I can't help it. He looks so good. She looks so good. She was smelling good. The lights were right. The mood was right. I had a funny feeling inside. I love what people say, even in the prison. They're like, man, I just had that swagger, had that game. I don't know, just couldn't help it. Just couldn't help it. We've all heard this, that line before, but is that true?
Well, I mean, kind of, I guess. No, I think yes. So here's the song real quick. Let's talk about it. So
okay.
This is our song, actually. It's called Fools Rush In. And the premise of the song is that you're a fool and you can't help falling in love because only fools rush in, which is totally funny and kind of, that's our actual song. Like, we love that song. I think under the right circumstances, you can't help falling in love, but under the right circumstances, you can help falling in love.
Let's just drop a bombshell on them and talk about celebrity crushes.
Let's do it.
Everybody's always got a celebrity crush, whatever. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not saying I have a celebrity crush.
Do you have
currently.
A celebrity crush?
No, but
everybody
knows about that. But in the past, celebrity crush. Who's going to go first?
Well, I already know your celebrity crush, and it's annoying. It's annoying.
No, I don't think that you do, because when I met you, I said you look like this person.
Yes,
so
don't even say it because that is so embarrassing, because I don't look like her at all.
I've been delivered, right? Right, I got delivered when I got married.
You can have a celebrity
crush, Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
Even as a kid, the movies, you've got Gone in 60 Seconds, Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
what are the other movies? Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt, right?
I've never seen that movie.
And So that was
Well,
that
the
was
one that
always
I
a
was
celebrity
thinking
crush.
of was Hillary Duff.
Oh,
Yeah. That one, he gets embarrassed.
she
with
gives
that
me
one.
a hard time about that one because, of course, that was like in the past, teenager type thing. Back when, at the time, she was popular. Of the same age. I'm the same age, right?
Oh yeah, you're
And
younger.
I went around singing the song for a while years ago, and it drove you crazy. I can't believe I'm gonna bring this up. The Havana.
Oh yes, was
Yeah.
Camila Cabello?
Yeah.
Even though
and
he
so
says he doesn't
I would listen
have
to
a
the song,
crush.
and she would be like, "Why are you listening to this?" And why, and whatever. But
Yeah, because he gets
I'm
off.
out of the hot water. Let's put you in this hot water.
Babe, my only celebrity crush is you.
Oh yeah, and the lies begin.
Okay.
So in the past,
Anyway.
let's go.
In the past, wow. Okay, so when I was really young, it was like the Casper guy. I forgot his name.
From the real life movie, Casper.
Yes, from the real life movie Casper. Oh, Devon Sawa. Oh my gosh.
I thought it was the Karate Kid, Mr.
Oh.
Miyagi, wax on, wax off guy.
Yes. Okay, so him too.
What's his name?
Ralph Macchio.
Oh yeah, you know
Who
his name.
is, by the way, he's like super old and he looks like he's really young. So
I think your first celebrity crush that I ever knew about was The Rock.
yeah, The Rock, but
Dwayne
he's getting
Johnson.
kind of old, you know.
Yeah.
He's getting too old for me. I think
Oh,
I'm
wow.
switching back to Ralph Macchio's old, but he looks young. Devon Sawa, he's like really ugly now, so not interested. I don't have it. I don't
You
have any
got
more
people
celebrity
that
crushes.
look at celebrities and they're like, man, like I'd leave everything, do anything with this. But at the end of the day, you don't really know this person.
Right.
This person could be a complete psycho
Well,
lunatic. And
you know,
don't-
like
behind closed
for
doors and you don't even
instance-
know.
And I think that's kind of what we're talking about too, is that like, for instance, right, you look at Angelina Jolie. She was married to Brad Pitt. Now, I don't know what Brad Pitt was like, but from what I hear, Angelina Jolie is a little psycho. You know what I'm saying? So
And people say Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian.
It's like how many different
Kim Kardashian's
guys,
been married a few
boyfriends,
times,
men,
you know,
husbands
but
she's had. So let's talk about this one because everybody can relate to this one. Our earliest memories of falling in love.
Yes.
Love's like this huge pit, and we tripped and fell in, and we had no choice and no help. We just couldn't help ourselves. We just fell in the pit. We fell in love. Is teenager, right?
oh, let me tell you,
Teenager.
I was in love so
Hormones
many
are
times when I was
flowing.
a teenager.
And this is kind of funny because we're going through this with our niece.
Oh, I was about to talk. I was like, oh
we're
my
going
god,
through this with our niece who's 14, 15,
13, actually.
13, about to be 14,
About to
something
be
like
14.
that. She reminds us that, like, I'm almost grown. I'm almost
Yes,
14.
she thinks she's a grown up.
And we had this conversation, like, she was like, I for sure am going to marry this person. And so,
yeah.
like, I remember even myself, like, teenager, you know, emotions, love, and like, I'm going to marry this girl for sure. Like, I already knew
No
that was
questions
my
asked.
future.
Period.
And I
point
think
blank.
everybody, you know, they have at least that one in their life that it's like that. And they can remember that it was like all feelings and emotions, like weren't even thinking about the realities of life, like bills and kids and
Yes,
life.
crazy.
And
Well, you know, I can relate a lot to our niece because, and it's funny because everybody's like, oh my gosh.
she swears she's going to marry this boy.
Well, actually, it already changed. It's 2 months later, you know. So
Oh, it's changed.
It's changed.
So we just had this conversation with her about a month ago. And
in December.
she is 14,
About to be 14.
about to be 14. She's 13, almost 14. And there's an older boy in the
Yes.
church.
Oh,
He's 17.
yes. He's 17. Yes.
And she swears and she gets so upset if you try to tell her anything different that she is going to marry him.
oh yeah, she's sure.
And I mean, it's not like they're in a relationship currently.
Well,
but
actually, they don't even talk. Like they don't even know each other. so.
She's already like put it together in her mind. They're getting married.
Yes. So here's the crazy part. And, you know, we can learn a lot from our younger selves. I always tell people, like, I wish I could go back and have all the knowledge that I have now, right? because I watch her and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's exactly like she romanticizes love.
And now I have a daughter, so I'm like, this is what I have
and I'm
to
like,
look
Lord,
forward to.
please don't make my daughter like me in that aspect, because I'm gonna be having a cow. But anyway, you know, you're so sure of your feelings. I think feelings is an important thing. You're so sure of your feelings and your emotions, which the Bible clearly says don't trust those, right? Because they change like crazy.
I mean, the world says follow your heart.
Yes. So I think
But the Bible says that our heart
is
steer is wrong and are filled with
the
evil.
world says, everybody in the world right now, in this time of
culture
is like your feelings, your emotions, your heart, which is completely contrary to what
makes you happy.
God
do
says,
what feels right.
And you know, when you really, really are into the word of God, you're like, whoa, I can't trust my feelings and emotions. But the world tells you this, like everybody does. And, you know, you're so sure of your feelings. You're so set on things that, because you feel it. And, you know, with her, I look at her and she reminds me of myself. And I always say, man, I wish I could go back to that age and just have all this knowledge that I have now and kind of like just be happy and live life, you know, without all of that worrying about all the things that I can't even control at the time.
Well, I want to blame somebody really quick. I want to blame Disney because we grew up.
Let me tell you.
We grew up as kids.
That Little Mermaid, like.
These Disney movies, right? Aladdin and Jasmine.
Oh.
You know, and it's like all the other Disney movies that aren't even coming to my mind. But this movies and TV, music, and even social media now here on the outside, it all pushes and portrays this message. And I think one time we were at a marriage conference in Houston, and Bianca Olthoff was there, and she did such a funny story about Titanic.
Oh, yeah.
So she was like, you know, as teenagers, we watched this movie Titanic, right? And just the whole premise of you've got Jack, and then what's the girl's
Rose.
name? Jack and Rose, that they suddenly out of nowhere meet on this ship.
Yeah.
And
in 24 hours...
they are like ready to die for each other and cannot even move on with their life and knowing each other 24 hours.
It all.
And so
she leaves the millions for him.
Yeah,
even though she doesn't
was
know
with some rich guy she didn't like or whatever. And so at a young age, we had things like that were poured into us of what relationships look like and what love is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But we got to answer the $1 million question.
Yes.
On the cover of this episode is a picture of me and you. And that picture is, do you want to share?
That is actually one of our first dates. And I got a funny story about it. Oh my gosh. Do you remember what happened?
Gosh.
Do you remember what happened? Okay.
Yeah.
So
she gonna put me out there.
So I'm gonna put on blast because you guys, this is so funny. We've never told you guys a story. So that night, check this out. It was the first time that he was gonna meet my spiritual parents. And he had invited us all out to dinner.
It was our second date because our first date was with your aunt.
Yes.
At a Chinese buffet.
Yes.
Amen. Somebody.
Amen. If he
our
takes
second
you
date
to a
was
buffet,
on
he's
the
a
Riverwalk.
keeper.
So this picture that you see on this
it's
episode
at the Riverwalk.
Is one of our first pictures together.
Yes.
2013.
2013. No, 2014.
2014.
Because we got married like really
Yeah,
quick.
2014 on the Riverwalk.
On the Riverwalk.
On the San Antonio Riverwalk. We're sitting there. And I did not even, let me just tell you just the kind of position that I was in is I had some roommate situation with guys from the church, and a couple of guys ended up getting married, and there were 4 of us in there in the home, and it worked good or whatever for about a year. And then everybody started moving out. We didn't know where to live. And I was staying at a friend's house on his couch, and I had this date with you, and I didn't even have a nice shirt. The white shirt that I have on, even though, shout out Texas, I said I never wear white. That's why I wear all black now. Amen. But the white shirt I had on wasn't even mine. It was the person's house that I was staying at, and he allowed me to borrow his shirt for this date. And then,
well, all I remember is that you were going to meet my spiritual parents who lived 2 blocks away, and you were going to pick us up. And he got there an hour late because he got lost.
that was before GPS was what it was today. I'm still trying to get San Antonio down after 13 years.
Well, he gets distracted and he misses exits and stuff, and he's notorious for that. But anyway.
But especially in the beginning time and years of San Antonio,
yes. Which,
it took a lot.
Just to be completely transparent, when I first moved to San Antonio, I would go to the Walmart on the other side of town because I knew where it was because GPS. Anyway, long story short, we went to a restaurant and he's like, I got it. I got this. I'm paying because he was trying to impress everybody. Well, his card declined. Okay.
But I had the money. I know you all heard that. Hey, I got the money on store day and then didn't have the money. But this for real legit, I had deposited my paycheck the day before and I had the money. And I actually opened up my banking app and showed them available balances.
No, but hold on. Because there's going to be a quick 2-second lesson in this. Is that I remember because of my past relationships and, at this time I had already been saved for 4 years and single. And
I thought I was your one and only.
You are, babe, after Christ. Anyway, so the thing was that
before Cody,
yeah. In my past relationships, I was a very I'll pay for this. I'll do this because, I always had a good job. I always made good money and stuff. And I remember that this was my first date as a saved woman 4 years in, right? And the card wasn't going through. My initial response was take your card out and pay for the food, for everybody, right? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, my spiritual mom's sitting there and she's like, don't do it. It was a little test, you know, for myself too, because I was always that girl that was like, whatever you need, whatever, and this is friends and boyfriends. It didn't matter. Anyway, so she was just kept like, don't do it. So she's like, let him figure it out because you went somewhere and you were kind of freaking out.
Yeah, so they came back. It was declined. Super embarrassing. I'm trying to make a great impression in front of them, and I ended up going to an ATM, getting the money out, which wouldn't have been possible if I had no money. I blame Saltgrass.
He had money.
Steakhouse.
He had money. But not gonna lie, we were looking at each other like, okay, like.
Yeah, I think he failed the test on this one.
Anyway, no, but you passed the test because you actually did have money.
Yeah,
it was just
it was
card
completely
thing.
out of my control.
Anyway.
But the question is, did Cody and Julia fall in love?
I think what's important to know is that you and I were very much not looking to fall in love. Like, we were not looking for a relationship. I mean, we were praying, which is totally fine. We had people praying, hey, let me meet the right person. Let me, God, bring me the right person. But I think it's important to know that we were very focused on the Lord and serving him as single people. And I think when you do that, there is no distraction. So when the real right person comes along, I feel like it, And
I think there's someone listening to it right now like, oh, wow, good for y'all. Y'all just did it right, whatever. Y'all are great. Y'all are perfect. We had no examples to this.
Nope.
Like, we did not grow up seeing this modeled or knowing this. We didn't see this in our biological families. And like you said, that 4 years is into serving God and being in church and saved and things like that. We didn't know. It was all new. So that's hope to somebody that's watching this today.
Yeah, like you can change.
You can change and it can be all new to you. I love what Dave Ramsey said. If you want something you've never had, you got to be willing to do something you've never done. But can't help falling in love,
So
this
in
title,
that
the answer is no.
Yes.
We did not fall in love.
We did not.
In the sense of the word of I just fell in love.
Yes. Like I think and another thing too was that you had a very serious conversation with me, because I am the one that kind of throws, like, oh, I'm in love, Now, there was no distractions. That was important to know. For me, there wasn't. I mean, I know for you too, but there was no distractions. We weren't like going on, all these Christians now, I don't know what, like, it kind of shocks me. Like, people are just like dating and talking to multiple people all the time. And they're like, oh, well, they have choices and whatever. And I'm just like, that is so confusing to me. I watched this Love After Lockup show, and I'm just like, these men talking to multiple women, thinking they're in love with both of them, and I'm just like, that is so confusing. Like,
but when you see on that show, what do you see? You see chaos. You see almost everybody goes back to prison.
Almost everybody.
They're
goes
not
back
successful
to prison
when they get out, and so that's not a recipe and a formula to follow. Yeah. The recipe and formula to follow that we did of dating God's way, trusting God's timing and God's plan, is because we wanted something. We're not sitting here saying we met yesterday. We are going on 12 years of marriage, over a decade of marriage to each other, because we followed this plan and put in place these relationship principles. And so what I want to say on this subject in response to what you said is that I believe because we were focused in serving God, we were able to see when God led us to one another.
Yes.
Because so many people in prison, behind the wire, and on this side, on the outside, they never get to that person because they're so distracted with all the people that are only going to last for the day, for the week, for the month, for a couple of months, for 6 months, for a year. And they continue to be like the gerbil running on the wheel, the hamster on the wheel, just going in circles and circles. And before you know it, it's a pattern that keeps going, and they always are asking God, why do these other people find people and not me? And so it's almost like tasting a drink and saying, well, I'm going to taste this to find out what I like, and not truly waiting for God to bring you that person, because the Bible says what God has put together, no person can separate, right? Mm-hmm. And so the focus on the key word God puts together, not we put it together, not we got on writeaprisoner.com, not on we're asking all the people we know around us, you got somebody I can write, I'm lonely, I need companionship. And then people say, well, I'm just passing the time. I'm writing multiple people. I'm leading this one on. I'm keeping my options open. I mean, it's very rare to find someone on the outside or in prison that's saying, you know what, I'm trusting and serving God whenever God opens that door, and you're not trying to orchestrate it. And so if you want relationships the same way they've always been, by all means, keep doing it. If you want God's way for relationships and for marriage, then you have to do it His way. And I'll end with this illustration and pass it back to you, is I think about like people that love sports cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and they say, one day I'm going to a Lamborghini. Well, if you are saving money up in a Lamborghini, $200,000, and you've got saved up $30,000, and someone puts a car that's, man, it's the color you like, it's shining, it looks good, it smells good, it revs up good, and it's a Kia, and you're like, well, here's $30,000 for this. And you take that for a spin and start saving up your money, and then you keep spending your money on all these cars that eventually, shout out to Kia and Hyundai and it's going to break down. You're going to have problems with it, and you're going to need to get a new one. And so you're going to be trading in for a new model and a new model and a new model. And in that same time that you traded all these models, and then you're going to be broke down with no car, asking somebody to give you a ride, you're going to look back one day and you're going to count all the times that you had to waste time and money. And you're going to be like, you know what? If I would have, now I'm broke and don't have a ride and lonely in the same position. If I would have just saved that, I could have bought that Lamborghini by now, and it would have lasted me, and it would have been my dream car. And that's a principle I think a lot of people don't realize. It's that no one's telling you to be a monk. No one's telling you to be celibate for life. No one is saying that. We're just saying that, and I think this is what Corey said on 40-Time Felon. He said, don't give up the God thing for a good thing. Mm-hmm. Even though something looks good, and there's a lot of good people, but is it a God thing? Because if it's a God thing, it's going to last. And it goes back to John 10:10, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I've come to give you life abundant. A lot of people are getting their lives stolen in relationships, their time, their money, their heart. Oh, my heart broke my heart. And they're not seeing the abundant life, the good life in the relationship, because they're not slowing down. They're not seeking God first and letting God lead them to the right person and being faithful in singleness until they get there. But yeah, that's just what I want to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, it's good to know this, that both, it's not like people weren't approaching us when we met each other, right? Like, I think if we tell them, like, people used to try to set you up on dates in the church group dates, and like,
and almost every Sunday we went out to eat after lunch, right?
And they would leave
I would
a chair
always be
open.
sitting across or next to some person who had orchestrated this behind my back. Like I would show up and it would be so awkward, you know, because I'd want to hang out with the guys and, you know, chill and talk about guy things. And then there would be like, this chair's for you, and you're going to sit next to her or talk to her. And then the person next to me on the other side of the table would be like light up, like almost as if I had requested this to happen. And they'd be like, oh, so, you know, tell me about you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I just wanted to eat.
Yeah, you were on a date.
Chill.
No.
Like, I ain't trying to be over here on 60 Minutes and tell this person, like, and answer all these questions.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to chill.
I used to say, when you got out, you were crispy. You still look good, man. But you looked clean, good.
Wore a size medium shirt.
Young. Anyway, no, I mean, and for me too, like, you know, I think I've told you guys before where, you know, at my job, like, they would try to set me up with guys. They would, like, you know, they'd sign me up for Christian Mingle. I didn't even have an online account, like a Facebook account back then. Because
the question is, do you want to be a Christian and mingle, or do you want to be a Christian and get married?
FYI,
Christian marriage or Christian mingle?
Just an FYI, all these websites and even that right of prisoner stuff and all that, like, people can say they're Christian. I'm gonna tell y'all seriously, 99% of the time they're not. Like, and
the Holy Spirit in you will give you that discernment.
And yes, you know, we have a lot of people that I met. I love talking about relationships and stuff like that because I was single. Like, number one, like, what is the reason that you want a relationship? Is it because you're lonely? I mean, if you're lonely, you can believe it or not. And some people don't. They're like, no, that's not true. You can be in a marriage and be lonely. And I know a lot of people who are married and they're so lonely because they're not, you know, they don't have anything in common. They don't even have God in common. You know, there's a lot of people out here. We know a lot of people that they're in relationships and the man's a Christian, the woman's not a Christian, but hey, they make it work, whatever. They don't even go to church together. There's so many background things to not being with the right person, right? And then they feel lonely because one of them is a Christian and they have to go to church by themselves, or, they don't have God in common. It's like, if you're in a relationship and you don't even have Jesus and, God in common, like, what are you doing? Because the whole purpose of even being married, or, being married, or if you're pursuing marriage, is to have like a mission together. Like, the reason, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons, right? But the main reason that this works is because we have a mission. God has given us a mission. So when we get crazy, because, we're not perfect, we get crazy sometimes. And we want to fight, and we're just like, you know what? I can't stand you. I'm done with you. What we always come back to is like, God has a mission for us as a marriage, as two people that are together, we have a mission. And so if you're just married to be married, like, eventually
I think
it's
what
just
you're saying is having purpose.
Having purpose. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Life. I mean, the Bible talks about being unequally yoked. I mean, if you're the one pushing the God thing and the other one isn't, you're unequally yoked with someone, and you always feel lopsided. And yes, God can use you if, sometimes people get in relationships, they're not saved. One gets saved. Yeah. You in prison got saved. The person you're married to on the outside didn't. And sometimes, depending on the relationship, if it's not toxic, if it's not triggering, if it's not bringing you back into addiction or into sin and wrong things that you shouldn't be doing, you can see where a person serving God can bring the spouse to Christ. But when you're straight up not even married yet, and you have the mindset, I'm going to be with them and I'll change them. I'll save them. But I mean, I think we just have to say, just, pull the rug out from under people. When I say this, is that so many in prison are saying they're just talking to people to pass the time.
Because they're lonely.
Talking to people, right? Because they're lonely and they want relationship. And I just feel like, even though you're married, and even though like you're my wife, you're not my most important relationship.
Right.
You're not the most important relationship that fulfills me, that completes me. Even though in the movies they said, you complete me. And we keep trying to find completeness and value and worth in people when people were never created to be that for us. And so my most important relationship in my life is my relationship with God, right? God has to complete me, right? Yes. Because neither one of us are perfect.
And
we can't complete each other. And you on the inside, you have to be in the same mindset of like a relationship. Is it good? Yes. Does the Bible say to find a wife is to find a good thing? To find a husband's a good thing. I love weddings and cheering people on and officiating weddings and all right there.
We love that.
We're in no way saying it.
If you need a wedding, let us
know. Wrong
No,
with
we can't do weddings.
That. But what we are saying is that if you are in prison and you have loneliness, you have a God that made you, that created you, that yearns to have a relationship with you. Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. If you'll open the door, he'll come dine with you. And so Jesus has to complete each of us. And when Jesus completes you, we didn't fall in love, right? We didn't fall in love. We didn't do dating and relationships like most people, right? We were very intentional with one another. We knew what we wanted. Like, you want that dream car. It's got to be a Lamborghini. I want it, bright red. I want it fast. I want the souped up. I know some people make a list of they want 50 things.
Yeah, I mean,
the looks has to be tall, has to have this hair, has to have that, and they make it
sometimes
make it so like down
detailed
to
that it's
the
never
details
gonna happen.
that even God can't answer that. Because God's like, I ain't got someone like that. You want him rich and a good job, owns his business, has a condo and has a house, has all this paid for and the looks down to the T, and that's why they're still single?
Well, I think, there are realistic expectations sometimes. I think the basics, right, is like must love Jesus, like if you want to just get basic, must love Jesus, right?
If you're getting in a relationship, riding, visiting, dating, and this person does not have a relationship with God, then you got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. I think that helps eliminate quickly. If you're trying not to waste time, right? So one of my things when I was single was like, if the guy doesn't even go to church, like if he doesn't even believe in God, because I had dated a guy who was atheist. He did not believe in God, right? And I mean, at the time I was like confused. I was like, I don't know if I'm a Christian or not. I mean, I don't even know like if I believe in God either. But this is when I got saved and I said, okay, I'm going to serve God 100%. I believe in him. I had professed it. But, number one was like, I don't care how good this guy looks. If he doesn't believe in God and if he doesn't believe in God, I'm not even interested, right? Second, if he doesn't go to church and have community around him, that's shaky for me. So I'm like, not interested. So you would meet people, and because I'm not saying I was a nun and I would just sit there and like not talk to anybody at all, right? You would meet people even at church, and I would be like, okay, he believes in God, but he doesn't come to church, Or the third thing was always like, does he want to serve the Lord? Does he have a job? Things like that, right? So you can slowly, quickly start. I would tell you that like, most of the guys that I met, like they didn't believe in God. So I was just like not interested, but but that helped me. That wasn't like, oh, let me invite him to church and I'm going to change him. And I was like, that's too much work. Like I got too much work to do. Like I have too much going on. But one of the other reasons so you have to know, okay, is it loneliness? Am I just lonely? Like, well, if you're just lonely, you need to talk to the Lord. Like help him, let him court you. You know what I mean? Like whether you're a man or a woman, let him court you. Because one of my biggest things that I tell people now that I'm married, now that I have kids and stuff, is that you can't have the intimacy that you had with God, with Jesus, when you are single, that you have once you meet your spouse, right? The other thing that I tell people a lot is like, if that is your desire, it's very rare that a person is called to be single. And I know a lot of people that are called to be single, and they know that, and they're 100% okay with that. But if you're like, I don't know if I'm called to be single, I don't think I am. That was one of my questions too, because I was older when I got married, and one of the reasons in my mind, and this is when I was like 24, all my friends had gotten married when they were like 20, 21, 22, right? I was like 24, not saved. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm stuck. Like everybody would look at me like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you still single? Like, something must be wrong with you. Are you going to be one of those women, what do they call them? Like old, like the women that never get married, old maids or something like that. So people would ask me if I was going to be an old maid at 24, right? Like, okay. So then 27 happened. I got saved, and my family was putting pressure on me. Like, why aren't you married? Like, what's going on? Are you going to be, cause I had 3 aunts that never got married, never had kids. And so that was pressure for me. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, I just have to find someone, and then I'm 31 and I'm still single, because I was 31 the year I met you. And at this point, I'm, old. Like I am about to be an old lady, and I'm still, single, and there's a lot of pressure. But, inside of me, I was like, God's going to send me the right person, and I'm going to wait, even if, I have to wait till I'm 40, which I was like, I hope I'm not 40 when I'm, but anyway.
I always love the even if remark. It reminds me of, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They, Nebuchadnezzar said, hey, if you don't worship me, I'll throw you in the fire. And they said, our God will save us. But even if he doesn't, I still won't. And I think you have to have the the even if approach with the relationship is I'm going to trust that God's going to bring me someone quickly.
The right
But
person.
even if he doesn't bring them quickly, I'm still not going to just settle for someone.
Yeah, I'm not just
and
gonna.
in prison, you talk with people around and they talk about their relationships and their families and their kids. And maybe you went in young and now you're older and you can feel left out. You can feel like, man, other people have lived life. They're ahead of me and I'm not where I should be in life. I should be at this stage or this age in a relationship. You see people getting the visits, getting the phone calls, all those things, and you can feel very left out. But you need to trust in the Lord's timing so you're not, wasting time. Relationships isn't just something to kill time. It's not something to gain experience, right? When you're young, get out there, get some experience, because relationships leave scars on you. Relationships, they say break your heart,
They do.
Relationships, you carry baggage. A lot of the deliverance episodes, we're going through soul
Yeah.
ties. We're going through all these things and the hurt and the damage that happens because that's not God's intention for a relationship. Yes, maybe you've made some mistakes in the past, but God can deliver you, redeem it. You can start over. You can begin again. So in this whole episode of Can't Help But Fall in Love, Can't Help Falling in Love with You, is that you can help it.
You can.
When you put I can't help in front of it, it insinuates that you're somehow a victim
Powerless.
of your situation.
Yes, you're powerless.
A
Yeah.
victim of the person who came towards you that, for whatever reason that you felt drawn or sucked into a relationship that you didn't want to be in. People say, man, it just, can't help but fall in love with the boy. You know what I'm saying? All these types of things and all these types of remarks. But so you can help but falling in love.
Help.
And I know, Julia, you wanted to share some principles with us that we've been talking about that people could apply to their current relationship or just learn for when God brings them that person.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the principles are, if you're in a bad relationship right now, I mean, I know we're talking to people that are in prison, right? But believe it or not, you can be in a bad relationship, abusive relationships, unequally yoked relationships. It doesn't matter. Like, you need to stop it, right? You need to stop. I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's better just to be alone. It's better to be alone than in a bad relationship, verbally abusive, mentally abusive. I think when it comes to prison relationships, there's a lot of when there is abuse, it's mental abuse, obviously. Like, why don't you try being alone? You're not going to die. I'm telling you from somebody who did it. Like, you're not going to die. You're gonna, if you be alone.
I think that it can help you and you can be clearer in your mind.
Yes.
Because you're not trying to keep up with this relationship and what are they doing and the drama that comes with that.
Yes.
And you could be set free from that. And we see people so much that get out and they get hooked up quick the first day, the first week, the first month. And you might be saying, yeah, that's going to be me. But let me tell you, with all these people, they have, because of that, they have so many problems. Number one, the problem that gets them sent back to prison, right?
Yep.
For whatever reason. And so people are always quick to do this, but I just tell people it's like kryptonite. Like you have to be careful because relationships are so important because they shape your whole life. Yeah. They control your whole life. Just like your relationship with God is so important because it shapes your life. It controls your life. Letting someone in. And every great man of the Bible was taken down by a woman,
woman.
That's
or a
an
man
example,
in our women's
right?
case. Yeah.
Or the woman by a man, right? But it should be something to us to be able to realize, man, this is important. I can't help but fall in love. We can help.
Yes.
We have a decision. It's not something light. It's, yes, you have feelings and emotions and whatever in the moment. And in the right setting, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to be able to have
I was going to say that. Like, we're not saying don't fall in love. That's not what we're saying. We're saying you can help not falling in love with the wrong person. That's what we're really saying. Like, because, and I'm going to tell a story, and hopefully this person doesn't listen to the podcast. But anyway, I'm not going to say who it is. But, we had a person that called us for advice, right, recently, and said, I'm going to go on a date, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean,
disclaimer, this person had been out of prison, only a few weeks.
Well, like 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something.
That's what a few weeks means.
A few weeks, yeah. So anyway, he's like, oh, I just want, and I said, look, it's not time to go on a date yet. And because of situations that he had going on, and I'm like, hey, you just got out, focus on God. Don't worry about women, whatever. Right. And of course he went on the date. Okay. So, and then he lied about it, which was, funny, and then we knew. And then of course he came back. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I lied, whatever. I'm like, well, we don't care. I mean, that's your business. Right. But how did it go? Right. And it was like, she was crazy. She was crazy. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't even know what, what. And I'm like, so you went on this, you wasted your time, your precious time that you could be dedicating to things that are actually important, right? The chick is crazy. She's not, I mean, from what I understand, she's not even a believer. She doesn't go to church, So you just wasted your time, because it's not like you guys even had good conversation or anything. I mean, from what I heard, she wanted to like get married right away or something. But you wasted your time. Like, why are you wasting your time? And this goes for people in there like that are just talking to women just to talk, just to pass the time. You're wasting your time when you could be doing things that are productive, things that are going to get you ready for a real relationship, a real woman of God or a real man of God, And so for me, that annoys me, because I hate wasting time, and I'm like, you could have been doing productive things. You could have been doing better things. And what I told this person, I said, God has such a bright future for you. He wants to give you that woman, that family, those things that you desire. Like, he wants those things for you. But when the right woman comes along, number one, you may not even know it. Number two, she's not going to be interested, because you're just, what's that Mexican song, that the butterfly that goes from flower to flower, I mean, it's just like, I'll tell you this, women and men of God, we ask for references. We want to know how many people you're talking to, so that it's really important that you keep yourself centered, and that you don't waste time just to waste time, just to talk to somebody, just to pass time. Like, I think that's so important. But I mean, that's one of the things that I wanted to say, that like I said, it annoys me, because there's things that are so important, that other things that you could be doing rather than just talking to these, whoever people.
Well, we share this with you because we care about you. We love you. We want God's best for you. And there's two types of people that are watching this right now. One is the type of person that's like, you know what? I don't care about that, man. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Y'all ain't going to tell me what to do. Y'all don't know everything. Who do you think you are? Like, whatever. And they're going to get mad and they don't want to hear it. But that's fine. But that person, they're going to continue to have problems in their life and in their relationship, right? Because a fool despises counsel, despises wisdom being poured into them. But then there's the second one that is watching this right now, that they want that. They want the relationship that God has for them. They want the man of God, the woman of God for their future, and they're willing to do whatever they have to do. No different than if you want to get in shape and get strong, you got to work out. This same thing, we got to work out our spiritual muscles. We've got to work out to be able to discern God's voice over our own voice and feelings and emotions. And so if that is you that is watching this here today, I hope that you receive some things that get poured into, to know that, hey, we don't have to do dating and relationships the world's way. Mm-hmm. Does it really work? We don't have to do it the way that we've always thought or saw growing up. I mean, honestly, did that work either? And so can't help falling in love with you. We can help anything that we do and that we choose to do. And before you fall in love with someone, make sure first that you're in love with Jesus and that they're in love with Jesus. If you want it to be successful, if you want it to work, and we want you to have that relationship. We want you to meet that person, be it in prison, be it when you get out, because I've said this before, being out of prison for the last 13 years, I'm a teenager out of prison, 13 years, I contribute, right, number one, to God, following him, that relationship, but I also contributed to my wife that's sitting here today. If I'd rushed into a relationship and I'd gotten in a relationship with a person that wasn't serving God, that brought in a lot of baggage and pain and trauma from their past or addiction, there's no doubt about it that I would be on the other side of this tablet right now, looking at this same screen at the podcast and services that you are watching right now, probably many times, probably for a long time. Why? Because I carried so much hurt and so much baggage from my past and how I grew up and the unfair things that have happened to me that I did not know how to give it to God. I didn't know how to let God be able to heal me and vindicate things that I had gone through. And the same thing with you. You've been through things as well. And so we want you to be successful, to know that you have a choice when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, and know that love is sacrifice. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his son, Jesus." If you so love a woman, you so love a man, you will sacrifice yourself for them, because it's not a Hollywood movie. It's not The Notebook. It's not R&B with slow jams with R-dub playing, right? Many of those things are called lust. Many of those things are just called feelings and emotions. But it's not real love. It's a counterfeit that the devil sells you to keep you from the God thing that he has from you. And so I ask you, examine your life right now. Examine your relationships. What's God saying to you today? Is there somebody that you've been writing that God's saying, hey, this ain't the person I got for you. I need you to cut it off. Now you can continue writing them and you continue being frustrated and one day ask God, why am I not finding the person? Because God is waiting for you to let go of that relationship that you're in. That is the test you need to pass. Before God can give you something new, you've got to let go of the old. Your hand already has someone in it. Your heart already has someone in it. And it can't fit another person. So God's saying you need to release them. Mm-hmm. You need to let me be the most important relationship. Who are you talking to on the phone? The state phone or the illegal phone? Who are you in communication with? And God's saying, I have so much better for you. I'm asking you, you've got to stop. Cut the communication. Cut the tie. Cut the cord. It's going to hurt. It's going to sting. You're going to go through it. You're going to need someone around you to help you get through it, right? Another brother or sister of God that can lead you through it and cheer you on and strengthen you up. But you got to do it. You got to rip the Band-Aid off. You got to pop the balloon. You got to do what you got to do to get what God has for you. And you'll look back one day. I promise you this. I promise you this. You'll look back if you'll put these principles in your life and you'll see God lead you that person. It might not be tomorrow. You're going to have to trust God's timing. Get prepared and be ready, because love is sacrifice. There's days you want to quit that you got to keep going. There's days you don't want to love that you got to love. There's things that you ain't all in to do and don't necessarily like that you're going to have to do. And you can't run every single time. You got to be strong. You got to be ready. And a perfect example of that is I married a Mexican, y'all. I married a Latina. And our cultures are so very
different.
Our backgrounds and how we grew up and life
Even the
is so
food.
very different. Almost every restaurant and food this woman wants to take me to or cook in the kitchen is not what I would want, right? But there are sacrifices behind love. It's not always what you want it to be. And you love someone out of sacrifice. And those principles, to me, had to happen in prison. I'm not bragging on me. I'm not goody two-shoes. I'm not got it all together. I got letters in prison from women.
And I found them.
And people of the past. But I got brothers who could sit on this podcast and tell you that they all went in the trash, that I never wrote them back, that I watched men dig through the trash to get the letters out, so desperate for relationship, while they neglected the most important relationship of their life, about a God who loved them and died for them and desperately wanted to know them and bring them a person that they didn't have to dig through the trash. They didn't always have to ask, do you got a homegirl? Do you got a homeboy? You got somebody in your family? You know, that they were patient. They were satisfied in their singleness while they were waiting on God. And I believe I had to pass those tests because I didn't want just something in the moment. I didn't want something to pass the time. I didn't want something out of loneliness. I went through prison for 5 years with no relationship, no woman writing, no woman coming to visit, no phone calls. I didn't want any of that. I wanted something new. I wanted something that only God can give.
Yeah. I mean, if you find yourself, you know, I always tell people, because I get a lot of letters, and I'm going to close out with this, is that I get a lot of letters from people asking, what should I do with this? And what should I do with that? Now, I can't necessarily write back, but when there's people out here that contact us, and a lot of people, I don't know why, like they think I know, I'm just going to agree with what they're doing. Right. But you know, out here, there's a lot of people, I have a lot of friends like that, and a lot of the guys that get out, a lot of the women, and they contact us, you know, they're like, hey, can you give me advice on this situation and that situation and, you know, whatever. And I always start the disclaimer with, you're not going to like what I'm telling you. Okay. But we have, you know, one of my gifts is the gift of discernment. And I don't know why this is coming up right now, but because I feel like, you know, God is trying to tell someone something, is that if you're in a bad relationship and you know it, and the person, and because God's been telling you to get out of this relationship and you're not listening, right? I always tell people, I'm like, there's two things that are going to happen. This situation is going to put you in a worse situation, or it's going to like traumatize you, you know? And so I'm telling y'all this, it's not, this is not what you want to hear, right? Because a lot of people think like, oh, she's just going to tell me, oh, just be in love and live happily ever after and whatever. You know, I say it because I care, you know, because I care about y'all. We love you guys. We really believe that we're family, you know, we believe that. And if I was telling my niece, you know, I'll tell you what I told my niece. I said, just focus on God, you know, just focus on God. And when the time is right, and in her case, it's in a lot of years, when the time is right, he's going to send you the right person. And you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, why was I even like crazy about that person? You know, like that, because that happened to me. And so just focus on what you're doing right now. Focus on living your life. Focus on God mainly. And you don't even know where this person's going to come from if you're single. If you're married, this does not apply to you. You better, you know, fight for your marriage. But, you know, you don't even know where this person's going to come from. But God's going to bring you the right person at the right time. And it's not going to be too late or anything like that. Things will happen because you're faithful and because you're saying, you know what, God, even if you don't bring me a person, I'm still going to serve you. And then God's going to say, you know what? Yeah. So I do believe that the old fashioned stuff works when we're not looking, when we're not looking and we're just focused on God. That's exactly when he puts the right person in your path. And you don't even know, it's going to be the craziest stories of like, where did this person even come from? Right. So we want to hear if you have a story of someone that, God put, it's from God, not just anybody. It's from God and God put them in your path. We want to hear that story. And if you're praying for God to bring you someone, let us know and we will pray with you. I had a whole church praying for me back in the day. And so we will pray with you. And then if you need relationship advice, send me a letter. Just know that it's probably not going to be what you want to hear. So, that's it. That's
Julia.
all I got. What?
Julia.
Scared. Yes. That's my name.
Are you ready?
What?
Wise men
Oh,
say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. If you're single, that's got to be your song to Jesus until he has someone for you. And then you can switch it to that person. All right, we had fun. We went deep and we shared some good advice that I hope just spoke to you and is going to help you. And so we love you. God bless you. Stay strong. And we can't wait to see you next time.